Hello everybody, here we are today talking about whether or not we'll see a new goal leader by the end of the season, primarily by looking at some of the candidates that could go out there and win the Rocket. So before we get started with that, please make sure to subscribe if you're new to me or hockey, whatever the case may be. Being said, let's get on into it. So for a while now, the Rockets kind of been handed out to a couple of players, primarily Alex Ovechkin and Austin Matthews. There's been other players in that time, but I think that we have a good idea about who would go out there and claim the Rocket. This year I feel like it's kind of open, and that's why it's kind of exciting for this season. So we're going to be talking about that in today's video. Now I'm going to be honest here, this is going to be recorded late Tuesday night as I'm going to be pretty busy Wednesday, so this will go out on Thursday, but I don't imagine a whole lot should change here in terms of the top 5 goal scorers, so just bear with me. So coming in at number 5, you have William Nylander. Technically it is Mikko Rantanen, but looking at this, Nylander has played less games, less minutes than Mikko, so we're going to give him the advantage here as he's got 18 goals in 31 games played, and is one of those names that you would expect to be a good goal scorer as he's got back-to-back seasons with 40 goals and then had a 34-goal season before those two campaigns. But he may not be a guy that you really expected to go out and contend for the Rocket. This is a guy that is already seen a player of his on his team, Austin Matthews, claim it, I believe, 3 times in his career already. So if you're looking at Toronto's lineup, you might be leaning more towards number 34 to go out there and win it. But right now we're looking at Nylander having a good start to the year, when this team probably could need it, especially with Matthews being out of the lineup for a little bit there, and the team dealing with some injuries like to Anthony Stolarz here soon. I think he's going to be missing some time. So for Nylander, this is really good to have kind of a career year, possibly a career year, when the team is in a spot where they could win a division title, which would also be cool. I look at this though, and I do feel like he's probably going to be an outsider to be able to claim this award and to lead the league in goals. And one of the things you could talk about, he's had, I think, 7 goals on the man advantage this year. Maybe that number is able to stay relatively high, but last year he had just 11. And kind of one of those deals too where you don't know if the pace that he's at is good enough to go out there and claim it, but he is 5th in the league, so congratulations to him. Coming in at number 4, you have Brayden Point, and he has 20 goals in 24 games played. Obviously, there are a lot of games missing from Brayden here as he's been out of the lineup, but this is a guy that's been scoring at nearly a goal per game, and I think that's what's really incredible here, looking at his rate and seeing what the year could be for him. Ultimately, he may end up falling short of the Rocket by the end of the season just because he didn't play enough games and just couldn't catch up to some of these guys, but it's still one of those deals where you say, what if? What if he had played all these games? Could he have been able to have a franchise record for goals if he stayed healthy? That is always one of those things that you say is very exciting, even if it doesn't end with the result you're hoping for. And obviously, of course, too, this would be big for Point as he is one of Tampa Bay's best players at the moment, year in and year out, and is one of their better young players, probably the best young-ish player for the team, and is a guy that's already got an established career with Tampa Bay and has been able to have a lot of big moments with the team already. But I do think that in a certain way he might be trying to get out of the shadows a little bit of some franchise icons that he got to play with, looking at guys like Steven Stamkos, who may be gone, but his presence is not forgotten as he's in Nashville. Nikita Kucherov, who's still on the team, that's been able to have, again, so many good years. And then players like Victor Hedman and Andrei Vasilevsky. Point is in a spot right now where he's still got a lot of time left to prove himself and add on to his resume and build up his his legacy with the fan base and the NHL. So I'm hoping that maybe he could go on a tear and then go out and claim the Rocket. That would be really cool to see, and it would also be really impressive if he did it in less games. So keep an eye on Brayden Point. Certainly a guy that's already scored a ton before, had a 50-plus goal season. Maybe this could be his first year, or maybe this is going to be a stepping stone for possible Rockets in the future. Now, coming in at number 3, you have Sam Reinhart with 20 goals in 32 games played. Sam is a guy that is just in a great spot right now. This is a player that scored a lot of goals. Last season had 57. That is a Rocket caliber year on a good chunk of years, but just wasn't able to go out there and achieve that because, again, we have so many good goal scorers in the league right now. It's not like it would be the end-all be-all if he didn't go out there and claim the Rocket, but it would be a nice thing to kind of build off here as his time in Florida has gone very well. 2-time Eastern Conference champions. Last year, they ended up going out and winning the Stanley Cup, and to follow that up with possibly a Rocket winning season would be ideal, and that doesn't even include a possible playoff run where maybe they go back-to-back. Just kind of building on some really, really good things here for Sam as he continued to look like a really good player he was before he even arrived in Florida. But the good times can continue to roll here in Southern Florida, and that's really what you're excited about here. And you got to be honest, if you're Sam Reinhart, every day it feels like it's a little bit better to be out of Buffalo as they look set to lose their 11th game in a row. They're down 6-1 right now against Montreal. Not ideal for them, but for Sam Reinhart, he probably doesn't care too much because he's in Florida, won a Stanley Cup, might win a Rocket, and is getting paid a lot of money. Coming in at number 2, you have Kirill Kaprizov, and he has 22 goals in 30 games. This is a player we've already noticed has been special for a while now. He doesn't play or hasn't played a long time in the league just yet, but he's already established himself as a great player. And he's a guy that I've said before probably is the best player the Minnesota Wild have ever seen, especially in the offensive category. This is someone that I think will be able to have a big impact for Minnesota for a long time. Whether he gets a contract extension kind of remains to be seen, but I think, again, with what we've already seen from him, they're going to find a way to get pen to paper here. He is somebody that is the Minnesota Wild. He is their best player. He is somebody that sells jerseys and is part of this group. It looks like they could have a really big year. And I think this is going to be really positive for them. Not making the playoffs last year to now making the playoffs probably in the spot right now where they might contend for a division title with a player like Kirill that could go out there and possibly win the Hart and maybe even the Rocket on the same season while winning possibly a division title and finding playoff success for the first time in a minute for Minnesota would be an amazing year for the fans, and it would really push home the idea that, yes, they have to get a massive contract signed here for Kaprizov so he can be a player that plays for them for the entirety of his career. Coming into number 1 right now, it is Leon Draisaitl. He has 23 goals in 31 games played, so leading the entire league in goals. This is a player that has not gone out there and won the Rocket before, but has been really close. There's been some pesky names like Austin Matthews, and then that Connor McDavid guy, player that he's seen a couple times before in his career, where he has been able to go out there and win it once. That's kind of one of those deals where you are happy that you have a teammate that is as talented as McDavid is, but at the same time too, it's got to be frustrating knowing that some years there's going to be a player stealing the awards from you, and it could very well be your teammate. So that is tough, but I don't think Draisaitl probably cares too much. He's a well-paid player, guy that's already won the Hart before, and might have that motivation to go out there and win the Rocket this year. And it would just be really incredible for an organization to say that they have two guys that are capable of winning the Hart and then also the Rocket year in and year out. Maybe not so much McDavid in terms of the Rocket, because some years his goal scoring is a little bit down. But either way, two incredible players on a team that looks set to make the playoffs yet again. I really am hoping for Draisaitl. Maybe he can go out there and make the magic happen. Although, out of all 5 of these players, I wouldn't really be too bothered if they went out there and were able to do it. Especially because in recent years, again, it's kind of been Austin Matthews leading the way. Wouldn't hurt to see a fresh face. So with all that being said, who do you think will lead the league in goals by the end of the season? Let me know down below in the comments. I know I did a video over this earlier in the season, last year, I should say. Alex DeBrincat was leading the league in goals, and that was when you're like, oh, maybe somebody like him could go out there and win it. That was fun, probably not very likely, whereas I think some of these names are more likely at this stage, and I think this should lead for a pretty fun goal-scoring race. So that's all I have to say about that. Please make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you're new. Everybody stay safe, have a great night, and good luck, hockey, alright. Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.